Imagine walking into a hospital. The surgeon walks into the operating room, looks at your chart, then says, "Today, I'm just going to operate based on how I feel. No tests, no diagnosis, no process, just emotions." You'd run out of that hospital immediately. Yet every single day, people make decisions about retirement. They make decisions about life insurance. They make decisions about investments, debt, buying homes, starting businesses the exact same way. Not based on facts, not based on math, not based on a plan, but based on how they feel in the moment. And those emotional decisions quietly cost families hundreds of thousands of dollars over a lifetime. So, one of the greatest lessons I've learned as a business owner and financial professional is this: money doesn't care how you feel. Interest compounds whether you're excited or afraid. Inflation keeps moving whether you're optimistic or discouraged. Markets rise and fall without asking your permission. Your emotions are real, but they are terrible financial advisors. So today I want to explain. Why financial conversations should be guided by principles, not emotions, and that shift can change your future. So several years ago, I met two families. Both of them earned similar incomes. Both loved their children, right? Both wanted financial security. The first family built a written financial plan. They reviewed it on a regular basis. When life became uncertain, they adjusted, but they stayed committed. The second family made decisions based on headlines. When the economy looked good, they spent more. When the market dropped, they stopped investing. When someone mentioned life insurance, they said, uh, you know, uh, we'll think about it later. 10 years later, the difference wasn't income, it wasn't intelligence, it was emotional discipline. One family followed a strategy, the other followed feelings. Today's monster doesn't hide in the dark, it hides in your mind. Its name is emotional decision making. See, it whispers, "Wait until you make more money. Everything will probably work out. That won't happen to me. The market is crashing. Sell everything. The market is booming. Buy everything." Fear, greed, pride, comfort, impatience, those emotions have quietly destroyed more wealth than most recessions could ever. Successful financial decisions usually aren't exciting. They're repetitive, they're disciplined, they're often boring. Saving consistently, living below your means, reviewing your insurance, paying down high interest debt, investing regularly, updating beneficiaries, building an emergency fund. None of those actions create viral social media posts, but over decades, they create financial stability. The families who build long lasting wealth don't eliminate emotions. They simply refuse to let emotions become the decision maker. One of the first lessons business teaches you is this: revenue is data, expenses are data, profit is data. If every business decision were based on emotion or based on emotions, right, no company would survive very long. The same principle applies at home. Your household is a business. Your paycheck is your revenue. Your bills are expenses. Your savings is retained earnings. Your investments are long-term assets. When families begin viewing their finances through these lenses, something changes every time. Conversations become less about blame and more about building. So instead of asking, how do you feel about this? Ask, what does this plan say? Instead of asking, can we afford it today? Ask, will this move us closer to our, or closer, will it move it closer, move us closer or further from our long-term goals? So instead of reacting to headlines, review your strategy. Instead of making assumptions, review the numbers. See, facts don't remove emotion. They simply keep emotion in its proper place. So the next time your family has a financial conversation, I want you to use these 5 questions. What is our long-term goal? What facts do we know? What assumptions are we making? What risk should we prepare for? Does this decision align with our written financial plan? And did you notice something? None of those questions begin with how do we feel. Feelings matter, but principles lead. Imagine 2 captains, right, crossing the ocean. One changes course every time the wind shifts. The other uses the wind but follows the compass. Both experience storms. Only one consistently reaches the destination. Your emotions are like the wind. They change. Your financial principles are the compass. They stay true. A family without principles drifts. A family with principles navigates. Financial conversations should never ignore emotions, but they shouldn't be controlled by them. Fear should invite preparation, not paralysis. Excitement should inspire gratitude, not impulsiveness. The healthiest financial conversations happen when compassion meets clarity, when people feel heard, and decisions are guided by wisdom, not pressure. See, that's how families build confidence. That's how businesses endure. That's how legacies are created.